When this tape deck walked in the door, I thought, damn, this thing looks awful familiar. I think I sold this thing. Well, guess what? I did 5 years ago, and it came back from somebody else. Let's check it out. Like what I just got into repair. This is it's made by Toshiba. It's an Aurex. I used to have one very similar to this. In fact, in my opening logo, you see one that looks very much like this. But I sold it. Probably 5 or 6 years. I gave it away. Probably could have got a lot more for it now than what I sold it for, but I sold mine. And now I've got one in for service. This is not the same one, I don't think. It's not the same guy that I sold it to that brought it to me, unless the guy that I sold it to sold it to somebody else and it just happened to come back to me. But I don't think so. Anyway, this one here, it doesn't work. And none of the buttons work on it. Now, these units here, these are kind of neat, these units. In addition to Dolby, they had ADRES, which was Toshiba's own proprietary noise reduction system. I'll tell you a little bit something about that. So ADRES, that stands for Automatic Dynamic Range Expansion System. It's a proprietary noise reduction system that was developed by Toshiba. I can't find a lot of info on it, other than people that talk about it in some of the forums say that it worked better than Dolby, worked better than Dolby B and Dolby C, and was more akin to how DBX worked, because not only did it reduce the noise, but it increased the dynamic range. Anyway, this unit here, I'm told, does not work. So let's just load a tape in here and see whether it will play anything. And then we will get into it. So, and as you can see, nothing works. Oh, what the heck? Okay, the fast forward button put it into play. Isn't that strange? Sounds like it might be going the wrong speed. Let's just see how accurate the speed is. I don't hear a lot of flutter on there, which is good. So we're going a little bit slow, so we'll have to address that. Let's just see how stop doesn't work. Okay, so let's just turn the tape over and put the 3 kilohertz side on. Just listen to this for flutter and see how it sounds. Now that I know that the fast forward key. You know, that's actually very good. You can hear the dynamic range changing when I flip on the address. So it is definitely a compander of some type. But we have bigger problems with this unit because it's not changing modes. Now, this was kind of a unique machine. A lot of people didn't know this, but you see it says here, wireless remote control unit. This is actually a remote control. Oops. Well, I'm going to have to fix that too. I just knocked off the button. But this is actually a remote control unit. And you can remove it from the unit itself. Now, are there buttons behind here or not? I don't think there are. This is just a blank panel. So if the remote control doesn't work on this, it doesn't work. That one works. Well, kind of. Okay, well, anyway. Let's start with this remote control. We'll just turn off the power here so that or take out the cassette, I guess, so that I'm not triggering this thing. I'm just going to put the camera in night shot mode. One moment, and we'll see if this is emitting any signals. In night shot, we'll be able to see whether this remote control is emitting a signal. And I don't see any signal on those buttons, but I do see a signal when I press the fast forward key. But none of the other buttons are sending out a signal. So it looks like we have a problem with the remote control. as it's only sending out a signal when the fast forward key is pressed, and none of the other keys are emitting a signal. So we'll start by fixing, or attempting to fix, the remote control. I'll stick that button back on as well. And then we'll take a look at the deck and see if I can get it calibrated to the right speed and make this guy happy camper. We'll do a test recording on this too and see how well this automatic dynamic range expansion system works. I'm interested to try it. You know, now that I see this machine, which I had one very similar, I don't know if it was the same model or not, but I had one very similar to this, as I say, sold it about 5 years ago, and didn't think much of it. But I didn't really pay much attention to it. It was a piece of equipment that I got, and I kind of sold it off, and I think I sold it for like 50 bucks. But I'm sure today it would go for a lot more than that, because I see what some of these cassette decks go for. And this one here is kind of a unique one with that remote control and the ADR-ES noise reduction. But we'll see. We'll see how good this one's going to sound when I get done with it. First of all, though, let's start by opening up the remote. So there's a good chance that what's happened on this is that batteries have been allowed to go corroded, and probably going to find some damage to the circuit board inside here, because that seemed to be what happened with all of these units. People forgot that they had batteries in them, and the batteries leaked. And I can tell right now that the batteries something's leaked in here, because there's green stuff around the screws. So I don't know what to expect when I open this thing up. It might be a total mess. But we have to try to repair this remote control, because without it, this deck will not operate. How bad is it going to be? I think this is the unit that I sold, actually. I remember fixing the remote on the old one that I had that had been given to me. And I think this is the one that I sold. It didn't come back from the guy that I sold it to. That's probably how he got my name, is the guy he sold it, the guy I sold it to gave him my name, because the guy called me up, brought this out from Vancouver. I think this is, well, I pretty much can tell you right now, it was the unit that I sold like years ago. So that's interesting. It worked fine for a long time, and now it stopped working. Well, let's see what else has happened on this mess of a remote control that I fixed up years and years ago. And we'll see if we can fix this remote again and make it work. I hope the guy that brought this to me isn't watching. Going back to the guy, I hope he didn't pay too much for it. I think I sold this thing for like maybe 40 or 50 bucks. I forget what I sold it for, but I didn't get a lot for it. But yeah, it's black wire has come right off of the. Look at that! The plating has come off the terminal. That's what happens when people let batteries go corroded and things. They you know, you fix it up, but you can certainly have problems down the road. This is the play button over here. Let's just make sure that the actual switch itself is working. I think the switch probably is. That's probably leakage or connection that's gone bad, because these typically use a voltage divider. So there's basically resistors that are put in series, and when you push down different buttons, it puts different resistors in series to the chip. So we may have some leakage on something, and that's why it's not working. But let's just try, which button is this? Is play here. Let's just make sure that the actual switch itself is working. Now, which one's which? It's probably across here. Push the button in here. So the switch is working. So that's what the problem is going to be. It's going to be leakage, I think. So this is going to be one that I really got to look at and see if I can see any corrosion. But I bet it's just going to be another trace that's going open somewhere. Yuck, what a mess. I mean, it did last 5 years, so it was working. But then again, you know, whenever you get you know, battery acid or anything corrosive, it can certainly cause future problems down the road. Gonna scrape off corrosion that's around on this board here and take off this insulation. I think these wires are going to be okay. That's not going to be the fault. It's going to be another trace somewhere in here. Like this one's been bridged over, but like to this connection here, it may be right here. And this other trace here that goes around here, I'm going to probably have to redo that one. That's where I think the fault is going to be. So we'll scrape off the mask so that I can see what's under it. Oh, that one's come off. That one's broken free there, so it might be even right in here. But anyway, we'll take off the solder mask, and that way I can see under it. Do some more bridging and see if we can bring this old beast back to life, and then we'll calibrate the speed on it, make it work, get all the functions working on it. These are the same type of things that happen when people get equipment wet. You can never be sure that you're not going to have problems going down the road. I remember in the service days there was a church camp, summer camp for kids, and they used to get their camcorder splashed with water all the time and come in and get it fixed. And I always tell them, I can't guarantee it. It might last you a week, it might last you till next year, but one thing's for sure, it's going to act up again, because once water's gotten in, you can dry it up all you want, but you never know what future problems you're going to have, and battery acid is worse than water. But I'm sure we'll get this remote working, and hopefully it will stay working for a while. Yes, I've melted through the insulation on this wire. So that is tacked down to that terminal. This other one that goes over to here winds its way back over to this one. So I'm going to redo that one as well. And I don't know about this one over here. This one might be okay. This one here, across here, might be problematic. We'll test it once I get this wire in place. I'll redo the battery connection on it, and we'll put some, we'll test it out and see whether it's this one that's bad. I have a sneaking suspicion it was on this terminal right here. Or the problem was either this one or this one. So let me just resolder that. You can see this plating has come right off this battery terminal. But we'll just tack it onto the back side of this. I think that will... There's a bug in there. Tag it onto the back side of this. It should stick. Load some batteries in it. We'll try it out. Okay, batteries are loaded. Play. Excellent. Stop. Excellent. How about rewind? Rewind's not working. Fast forward's working. Rewind don't work. How about what's this other one down here? Looking at the front of this thing, see what buttons do what. There's probably two of them for record. Okay, buzzer on and off, and pause and mute and record is up here. So this is the buzzer on and off. Okay, how about pause? Pause works. So just rewind. So let's take a look at the rewind switch and see why that one's not working. The rewind switch is this one here down in the corner. This is rewind right here. So just measure to see where they go, whether we've got continuity. One ends up over here. Got continuity there, and the other, where's the other one go? This one goes around. That one goes to this one. This one goes around and it ends up over here. Yep, got continuity there. And this other switch has got, so maybe the switch itself has got a problem. Let's just push the button in. See whether it works. Ah, it's a switch. Okay, so this one, the switch is bad. So we'll have to either repair or replace the switch. Switch can probably be taken apart, but I may have one that I can just swap in. Yeah, I could probably even try popping the top off and just see if it's the little disc in there that's bad. Maybe repair it, pull the top off. Sometimes we can fix these things, but it depends. If it's been corroded, then we're kind of hooped. But top comes off quite easy on these. Sometimes it's just the little disc here. It gets kind of gungy. We'll stick some tape in there to pull the little disc out. The disc itself is kind of tarnished. That might all be that's all that's wrong with it. We'll try cleaning that up. Clean up the contacts in the bottom here. Scratch them up a bit. See if that'll fix the switch itself. Then I can get away without having to change it. Although I do have one that I can pop in there, and that I'm sure will work. Just going to use a fine, very fine solid screwdriver just to see if I can scratch through the corrosion that's on the sides of the contacts here. You see down here. Clean them up a bit. They're not too shiny. And of course the center contact. put the batteries back in and put the little disc piece in, and we'll see whether it goes into rewind now. And put the disc back in. Load up some batteries and we'll see if it works. Moment of truth. Does rewind work? Yep. So that switch is now functional. I put the little button back on here and see if I can get the top to reattach. So all I need to do is just get the top piece back on and then get my soldering iron in here just to fuse the plastic a bit. Mushroom it over so that it won't come apart again, which is how they originally were done anyway. That'll hold that switch together. Now the beeper's not beeping, or the beeper's not shutting off. That's the switch over here. I wonder if it's the switch itself or whether it's just all the corrosion. It might just be all the corrosion on this one, because there's a fair bit around this one. We'll see. I'll just complete the circuit across the switch and see whether it's a switch or whether it was the circuitry. Okay, that should have pressed the button. Yep, so it's a switch. Now it doesn't go beep 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 anymore when it rewinds. So this switch is also bad, so I guess we'll fix this switch up the same way. Just pop it apart. I straighten this up with my pliers so that it's flat again, so that I can reset it when I'm done. Oh, this one's had gunge in it. You can see the battery acid got into this one. That's why it's all corroded. You may or may not be able to fix this one, but we'll try. Just try scraping this one up. Get that old battery acid out of there that's causing it to not make a connection. Okay, let's try this and see whether the button works. Put the top back on. Easy to know if it works or not because it'll start beeping when I push rewind. Now the buzzer's off, see? Beep, beep, beep. So it is, it's fixed. I don't know if the record works on it. We'll try the record button. I'm going to grab my record tape. I can do a recording on that one. Make sure that it will go into record. And then we'll do a record. We'll calibrate the speed first of all, obviously. And do a recording on this machine. Okay, how do I make record on this? I think I press record and play. Maybe the record's not working. I see the pause light lighting up. Looks like record is also not working. So let's just put this other switch back together and we'll do the same for the record switch and make it work. Now it goes into record. Excellent. It seems that this, you only have to push the one button. That would be great for accidentally erasing your tapes, wouldn't it? Just hit the record button by accident. Wipe your tapes. remember that a deck like this, make sure you break the safety tab off on your tapes, because unlike most decks where you gotta push record and play at the same time, this one you just hit record. I'm sure before I sold this deck before, I'll go back and look at the last video, it was probably 2016 or 2017 when I worked on this thing, but I bet that I would have set the speed up before on it for sure. So it's just from age. There we go. Record, stop. We know that the mute works because the pause lights up. Play, rewind, fast forward, and the beeper works. Okay, now put this back together. It sits in like that, and then the buttons sandwich it together. The wire's in. Okay, it's the glue is dried. I can put the remote control back into the front of the unit like this. I think it's magnetic actually. This is magnetic. So this back cover, there's a metal plate here. And that's what holds this in place. It's just kind of neat. Neat idea, but then you can control your tape deck from across the room. Let's check that speed out again, and then we'll do a test recording on it. So 440. Oh, you know what? It's now going a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit slow, so let's just pop the unit apart and set the speed. Now that's a main board. Holy crap. Like that's got lots of circuitry on this one. Wow. Been a while since I've seen a tape deck with that big a circuit board in them. Okay, let's set the speed here. Speed control will be right in the motor on this one, I think. Yep. 2-wire motor, so speed control's inside the motor. Let's get it. There we go. That's very close. So that's good enough. I have rewired my system so that I can actually listen to it while I'm playing the recording back. Okay, we'll record this track. I'm recording it in the ADR-PS. Love that display. plug the recorder right into the camera and we listen to this back together, I figured I would show you guys the interior of this unit because it's actually quite nice inside here. Everything's laid out quite nicely. We got your microcontroller over here that controls the deck. Our Dolby circuits for the left and the right channel over here, and these are going to be the Toshiba's own proprietary TA7605AP left channel and right channel. It even tells you right here, like AD left decode. And there's all the calibration, the limiter, level. It's got the meter outputs, meter calibration down here. I'm not going to touch anything, but there's meter calibrations down here. This is the compressor for recording. And so this is the ADR ES automatic dynamic range expansion system. That's the circuitry for that, and it looks, you know, similar to what a DBX system, and it probably works similar to DBX, but it's Toshiba's proprietary own system. So belt looks to be in good shape on this unit too. I don't see anything slipping. It's a good wide belt. Looks to be an original belt on here too, which is amazing. I don't think I changed it either. Maybe I changed it when I serviced this thing, 5 years ago before I sold it. I may have put that belt on. So anyway, the belt's fine. No slippage. And when we listened to the tone, we didn't hear any excessive flutter, which is good. But look at the size of the flywheel on this thing. I mean, these things were really built quite well. That transport on this is beautiful. I mean, you couldn't ask for a nicer looking transport. All metal, huge flywheel, separate motor for the reel tables. Capstan motor is just doing one job, spinning the capstan. It's not driving anything else. So there's nothing else on there that's going to add to wow and flutter. This is a nice looking deck. I'm really quite impressed, and I forgot how nice this deck did look. We'll rewind the tape back here using the digital tape counter. There we go. Okay, let's take a listen to it. I'm going to plug the camera in, and you're going to hear the recording right off of the tape. And I have fixed my amp, as I say, so now I'm able to actually hear it at the same time. Whereas before I modded the amp, I couldn't hear what I was doing. So hopefully I modded it right. And no, I didn't film that. Well, that sounded amazing through the speakers. I guess you guys will determine how well it sounds over the headphones that you're listening to it on, but I'm impressed with the sound of this unit. Very impressed. At least through my speakers, I'm impressed. I don't need to do anything else to this thing. It's fine. Just had to fix the remote control, and hopefully it will stay good for a good long while. The guy that's got it now has my number, so guess what? If it acts up, he's going to be bringing it back to me. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one real soon.